How shall we be known? How shall we be known? We, the people of this congregation, we, each of us, we, the people of community, we, creatures of the earth, we, the ancestors of future generations, how shall we be known? There's a story from the national leaders of the Unitarian Universalist Association that one time they asked a lot of Unitarian Universalists to show up at an action for migrant justice. And UUs showed up, as we do. And we showed up in these hideous gold-orange shirts that were made to brand the UUA's National Side with Love Justice campaign. These shirts might not be objectively hideous, but they are a terrible color for certain redheaded pastors. I would have showed you one today as an example, but I do not own one. Anyhow, no matter the quality or taste of this shade of gold, it is definitely recognizable. You could say garish, you could say bright. And these t-shirts have a stylish heart scrawled across the front in white, and they read, "Side with love." And the word love is about 10 times the size of the other words. And the story goes that the UUs arrived at this action for migrant justice wearing their garish, bright t-shirts, and some movement leaders recognized them from other events where they had also shown up. And those leaders cried out, "Oh good, the love people are here." So that's one way we are known. The love people. Isn't that just who you want to be? The love people? And isn't that quite a big, broad idea? And maybe a lot to live up to. Who are love people? What kind of love are we talking about here? And how do we ensure that being known is deeper than the deep orangey gold of those t-shirts? The kind of love I want to be a part of is not fuzzy or undefined. The love I believe our faith calls us to is an embodied practice of commitment to the material thriving of each and all. This kind of love is dependable. It is mutual. This kind of love takes pleasure in others. It celebrates the joy of those we are loving and seeks to magnify and increase that joy. This kind of love frees. The love at the heart of our faith is the opposite of control. It is open. It flows, celebrating all that changes and grows because everything changes and grows. This love is aware of its relationship to loss and pain, and it grows not in spite of, but because of the tender truth of impermanence. Because love is the only and best response to a world that is brutal and beautiful and totally outside our control. So I hope being the love people means that we are people who know we are tangled up with all of life and seek to respond to that entanglement not by escaping it, but by with deep and sustained presence. I hope being the love people means we respond to the beautiful and sometimes dangerous web of life by weaving ourselves deeper into just connections. I hope being the love people means that we know in our bones and show with our lives that separation is an illusion, that separability is the origin of oppressions, and that the love we seek to weave cannot abide oppression. How shall we be known? We shall be known by the company we keep, by the way we seek out all who live the love that frees and align ourselves with them into a growing, spiraling circle, inexorable enough even to pull the powers and principalities of empire out of control and into the liberating love dance. How shall we be known? by the ones who circle round to tend the fires, the ones who circle, the ones who tend. I want to be known by the care I give. I want to be known for tending children, tending relationship, tending gardens, even though I do that very badly. I want to be known for climbing into a beloved's hospital bed when there are no more chairs and her hand needs holding. And I want to be known for singing at deathbeds. And I want to be known for embracing. I want to be known by the only person in the room who will never tell anyone else that I listened and it mattered. How do you want to be known? How shall we be known? By the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. As Unitarian Universalists, we talk a lot about a web of life that connects us all, but there are at least two webs of life in this world. There is one deep within the earth, the one made up of beautiful mycelium stretching and weaving between every tree and every blade of grass and every creature and every person, the one that nurtures, the one that if you pulled up a thread from the soil and followed it, you would keep walking forever. The one that holds every single atom and every single thing and all of us entangled inexorably, immutably. The web that could not be cut or separated if we tried. And we do try, humans that we are. This web is as close as there is to existential fact. We are interwoven, full stop. But there is another web too, the one we see above ground, the one we so often reject and resist, humans that we are. Because our entanglements make us so vulnerable to each other and so vulnerable to the unruly unfolding of life. There is another web that has become torn and frayed, like a spider's home that some unthinking hiker has pledged through head first, dangling and almost ready to blow away because of a range of behavior from carelessness to intentional, malicious. There is a web that has been frayed by the supremacy systems of white supremacy, heteronormativity, transphobia, ableism, all of the isms that separate us from one another and seek to dominate as a way to control the web. There is that web, too, that has been torn and frayed. You could call it the web of our intention, or the web of human attention to our true entanglement. It's the one we've managed to separate ourselves from. Because to be clear, the web below ground will never release us. We could never be separated from that. But the one we can see, it's feeling pretty tattered, isn't it? In this time of the lateness of empire, in frantic bids for control, in frantic effort to dominate, in fear of one another. There's that web. But that is also the web that, woven strong, would sustain us, would create cultures of care for all beings and practices of grounding in the earth that reflect what is already true below ground. It's the web that if we wove it strong would free our hearts, that would sparkle with joy, would give us everything we need, would celebrate all that changes and grows. Maybe we could call that web love, the visible one, the one we choose. Maybe we could call that web love. How shall we be known? I hope we shall be known as the weavers of the love web, as the ones who stretch the loom of our connections and who mend the tears, and who journey to the frayed edges where the illusion of separation has dealt blow after blow to our humanity, and who weave pain and loss as the warp and care and hope as the weft, and who pull us back into connection as the center for our reason for being in this world. I hope we shall be the ones who not only refuse the oppression of separation, but who reweave the visible web of life, the one that has been torn and frayed from every attempt to control and escape the tender vulnerability of our dependence on one another. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. Dear ones, the time has never been more pressing to turn, to lead, to love. It is time now, as we stand at the precipice of so much destruction, so much uncertainty, and so much possibility. It is time now, as structures that never served us crumble. It is time now to weave the love circle wide. It is time to stay rooted, time to deepen into that web woven by life itself that is always there to hold us. It is time to journey to the frayed edges of the web we make and to stay there. To stay, to simply be connected, interwoven, to be present, to refuse to run away as if we ever could, as if we aren't already woven together deep within the earth. It is time to stay. However we will be known, it is time now to be the love people. And this is not a call to go out and save the world. The love people are the people who show up at every frayed edge, who sit down there, who stay vulnerable and together, who listen to the stories and weave them into our own lives until the web begins to glow, to sparkle once more with the love that nurtures and grounds and frees us. If we can do that, if we can be that together, I'll even wear that hideous t-shirt. May it be so.